Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Hidden Korea, the place where the brightest stars reveal their deepest secrets. Today, we uncover a story that has set the internet ablaze, one filled with controversy, emotion, and unexpected truth. Kang is now facing intense backlash. Accused of double standards by fans worldwide, but what he did for Yoo Jung might just change everything you thought you knew about him. So buckle up, and stay with us, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything. The bright lights of Seoul never truly sleep, but sometimes they flicker, and when they do, it's usually because a storm is about to hit. For weeks, social media has been roaring with one name, Kang. Once hailed as the sweetheart of Korean drama, his charm, quiet intensity, and that haunting gaze that made millions fall in love, all of it now stands on the edge of collapse. It began innocently, like most scandals do, a few posts, a few whispers. Fans questioning his behavior during recent interviews. The topic? Double standards. Clips began circulating online, comparing the way Kang treated male colleagues versus his female co-stars. He acts distant, one comment read. Like he only plays nice when the cameras are rolling. Others called him cold, aloof, and calculating. The once perfect image of the gentle, respectful actor began to crack, piece by piece. And then, Yoo Jung entered the frame. They had starred together in My Demon, a fantasy romance that electrified screens across Asia. Their chemistry was undeniable, the kind that feels too real, too raw to be fiction. Fans adored them. Shippers flooded the internet with clips, edits, that perhaps, just perhaps, something genuine existed between them. But when the show ended, so did their public interactions. No joint interviews. No behind-the-scenes videos. Silence between them grew loud. Then, during a press event for another project, a reporter asked Kang about Yoo Jung. His answer was sharp, almost dismissive. "We were just colleagues doing our job." That one sentence shattered the illusion. Fans who once praised his sincerity turned against him overnight. Hashtags like "fake gentleman Kang" and "respect Yoo Jung" began trending. Comment sections became battlegrounds, half defending him, half tearing him apart. But while the online world was busy crucifying him, something else was happening in the shadows, something no one expected. A week after the backlash peaked, Yoo Jung herself made a quiet move. She posted a photo on her private account. Quickly deleted, but not before a few sharp-eyed fans saved it. The picture was blurry, taken at night, showing a man in a black coat standing in front of a hospital. The caption read only one word: "He came." The internet went wild. Was it Kang? Was he visiting her? Was she ill? No one knew for sure. But the possibility was enough to ignite chaos again. Then, 2 days later, paparazzi caught Kang leaving the Seoul Central Hospital late at night. His face half hidden under a mask. He didn't speak to reporters. He didn't look at the cameras. But what he was carrying in his hands silenced everyone: a small white box of medication with Yoo Jung's name clearly printed on the label. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Fans who had mocked him now hesitated. Why would he visit her secretly? Was she sick? Did he go to see her after the hate blew up? No one had answers. Only questions, and blurry photos that seemed to tell a story no one could fully see. The next morning, an insider from the drama set anonymously posted on an online forum. During filming, Yoo Jung fainted once due to exhaustion. Everyone panicked. But the first person to run to her was Kang. Narrator off said himself. That single post reignited the fire, but this time, the flames burned differently. More crew members began to speak. Stories surfaced of how he would stay late after rehearsals, bringing her warm drinks during night shoots, shielding her from the cold with his jacket. None of it ever made the press. He never boasted, never posed for photos. He wanted to keep it quiet. One makeup artist said. He didn't want people to think he was using it for publicity. And yet, the same fans who once called him cold now began calling him the quiet protector. The very narrative that once destroyed him began to rebuild itself, but this time, on a truth far more complicated. The story didn't end there. Because beneath the surface, something darker brewed, a truth that neither Kang nor Yoo Jung had ever spoken about. That night at the hospital was not their first meeting since My Demon. It was their third. Security footage later leaked to a gossip outlet revealed the two of them had met privately at a cafe a few weeks earlier, long after their drama's wrap party. The footage, and distant, showed Yoo Jung looking distressed, hands covering her face, while Kang sat silently across from her, his head bowed. At one point, he reached across the table, gently placing something, a small folded note, in her hands. She hesitated, then tucked it into her coat pocket. Audio. No context. But the image was enough to set the world ablaze. People began connecting dots, rewriting timelines, digging through old interviews. Had there been a falling out? A misunderstanding? Was this the reason for his cold answers and her cryptic post? For the first time, even his loyal fans began to doubt him again. The media framed it as manipulation, a calculated move to fix his image. Headlines screamed betrayal. Fans froze his endorsements. The industry that once praised his charm now questioned his sincerity. But those who knew Kang personally said something different. He doesn't talk much? Staff member said in a leaked chat. But when he cares about someone, he never lets go, even when it destroys him. As the pressure mounted, Kang disappeared from public view. His social media went silent. His agency released a statement saying he was taking time to reflect. But the silence only deepened the mystery. Passed. Then, suddenly, Yoo Jung broke her silence. She posted a message at midnight, a short, simple one. Sometimes the kindest hearts are misunderstood. It was enough to shatter the internet once more. Every reporter, every gossip site turned their eyes toward one burning question. Was she defending him? Or confessing something much deeper? The midnight post from Yoo Jung spread like wildfire. Within minutes, kindest hearts began trending worldwide. Fans flooded the comment sections with one question echoing louder than the rest. Was she talking about Kang? Her words, though simple, carried a weight that could not be ignored. It wasn't a denial. It wasn't an explanation. It was something deeper, an unspoken truth dressed in quiet sorrow. The next morning, media vans surrounded her agency. Cameras waited outside her home for a glimpse, a statement, anything. But Yoo Jung said nothing. She didn't need to. The world had already chosen its narrative. She was defending him. Then, something unexpected happened. Kang returned. No grand press conference, no PR statement. Just a single appearance. He was seen entering the set of a documentary program, not as an actor, but as himself. The producers hadn't announced it. When the episode aired, it sent shockwaves through the industry. The scene was raw, stripped of glamour. He sat in a small, empty studio. In a plain black sweater. No makeup. No music. Just silence, and then, his voice. I know people have made up their minds about me, he said quietly. But sometimes silence isn't guilt. Sometimes it's grief. His eyes flickered downward. The shadows under them deep, heavy. I said things I shouldn't have. I stayed quiet when I should have spoken. But there are moments you can't explain without hurting someone else. The host hesitated before asking. Referring to Yoo Jung. A long pause. Then a faint, broken smile. She didn't deserve the things said about her. And she didn't deserve my silence, either. It was all he said, but it was enough. Hours, the internet split in two. Some fans cried, calling it his redemption. Others accused him of playing the victim. But those who watched closely saw something real, a tremor in his hands, a crack in his voice. The fully built image of the perfect actor had fallen away. Remained was a man drowning in regret. That night, new footage surfaced, unseen clips from My Demon, shared by a crew member who had stayed silent until now. Behind the scenes, Kang could be seen quietly adjusting Yoo Jung's microphone, her from the rain between takes, brushing raindrops from her hair without realizing cameras were rolling. None of it was scripted. It was performance. And in one brief moment, the edge of the frame, Yoo Jung looked at him, not as a co-star, but as someone who once trusted him with her heart. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about double standards anymore. It was about two people trapped between truth and perception, a love story buried under the weight of fame. A week later, an insider close to Yoo Jung gave an interview that changed everything. After the drama ended, they had a falling out. The source revealed. It wasn't about jealousy or scandal. It was about fear. Song Kang was protecting her from something, from people who wanted to twist their friendship into something ugly. He thought distancing himself would keep her safe. Tore through the internet like thunder. The same coldness fans once condemned was, in truth, his act of protection. And suddenly, everything, the harsh words, the hospital visit, the silence, began to make sense. For the first time, people saw Song Kang not as the perfect romantic lead, but as a man crushed under his own decisions. Built a wall to protect her, only to become the villain in his own story. The online hate began to shift. Comments turned into apologies. Fan accounts changed their bios from "Cancel Song Kang" to "Wunderstand now." When neither he nor Yoo Jung spoke again publicly about what happened, their silence felt different this time, not cold, but peaceful. Months passed. Song Kang disappeared from the limelight once more. This time by choice. He reportedly refused several drama offers, choosing instead to work behind the camera, direct short films for film students. He doesn't want attention, one insider said. He just wants to create quietly. Yoo Jung, on the other hand, continued to rise. But whenever someone mentioned his name in interviews, she only smiled softly and said, "He's a kind person. That's all I'll ever say." And somehow, that one sentence healed more wounds than any statement ever could. But the story had one final twist, one that no one expected. On the anniversary of My Demon, a fan spotted Yoo Jung at a small art exhibition in Seoul. She was standing before a photograph, a black and white shot of the Han River at dawn. Beneath the picture, a handwritten note was taped to the wall. "To the ones who stayed quiet for love, your silence was louder than the world's noise." The signature below was unmistakable, SK. At night, Yoo Jung posted a simple image, a photo of the same sunrise, the same river, no caption. A small white heart. It was their quiet ending. No drama. No explanation. Just two souls acknowledging the story that only they would ever fully understand. And maybe that's why this tale has lingered so powerfully, because in a world obsessed with exposure, their greatest act was restraint. In the storm of accusations, betrayal, and misunderstanding, they both chose something rarer than fame, dignity. Whenever fans revisit My Demon, they don't just see two actors playing roles. They see fragments of something heartbreakingly real, hidden between every glance, every pause, every unscripted breath. Song Kang faced the world's judgment. But in the end, what he did for Kim Yoo Jung changed everything. And so, the curtain falls on another story from the dazzling yet unforgiving world of Korean entertainment, a story not of villains or saints, but of human hearts caught in the storm of fame, love, misunderstanding. Song Kang and Kim Yoo Jung reminded us that behind every camera flash lies a fragile truth, that kindness often hides behind silence, and sometimes the strongest thing one can do is walk away quietly. Their story is not just about scandal or redemption, it's about courage, sacrifice, and the cost of being real in a world that demands perfection. It teaches us that every smile hides a story. Every rumor has a heartbeat behind it. To everyone who followed this journey, who read, felt, and stayed until the end, thank you. Thank you for choosing empathy over judgment, curiosity over gossip, and understanding over noise. This has been Hidden Korea, where we don't just tell stories, cover the souls behind them. Until next time, keep watching, keep wondering, and never forget, the truth always finds its light.